Did you know that before Black Widow was introduced with Nick Fury, Marvel actually put a lot of small hint before he was revealed to be a highly trained agent? One example of this is when Tony and Rhodey fought inside his house. When they fought in front of Pepper, if you look at Pepper, she reacted how normal people would. But if you look at Natasha, she immediately assumed a fighting pose. So if the audience look carefully, they can already deduce who Natasha actually is. When Peter is having a small sparring with these two middle-aged dudes, you can see Bucky almost outplaying Spider-Man by throwing a brick at him. But what's amazing is if you look at Peter's mask, even before he saw it, his spidey sense had already noticed it and his eyes widened. That's why he was able to easily dodge this attack from budget Captain America.
When these two dudes who are having a midlife crisis decide to work together and fight this teenager who just wants to help, Spider-Man manages to grab Bucky's metal arm.
You have a metal arm?
And so Mr. Birdie saw this other dude touching his boyfriend and didn't like it. So he dives and grabs the insect guy to fight for his love. What's amazing is if you look at Mr. One Arm here, because the camera was about to hit him after it followed Big Bird grabbing Mr. Insect, he did this spin move so the cameraman wouldn't bump into him.
Did you know that Captain America breaks a fourth wall in Age of Ultron? When Thor, Tony, and Cap are talking after the final battle, they are walking towards the camera.
It's not a coincidence.
So to avoid Cap hitting the camera, he actually moves away a little.
Coincidence.
It's so small that many people never actually saw it.
Did you know why Captain America didn't fully lift Mjolnir in Age of Ultron? He moved it slightly, which worried Thor, but he didn't lift it all the way. Many fans think he could have, but chose not to, in order to spare Thor's feelings. But the truth is, at that time, Steve wasn't fully worthy. He knew Bucky had unalived Tony's parents and chose not to tell him.
Did you know? Yes.
I can't believe you've done this.
And because of that secret, he couldn't lift it completely yet.
Did you know that even before Captain Carter appeared in What If and Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, Marvel had already hinted at her years earlier? In the first Captain America movie, when a grenade lands on the ground, Steve throws himself on it to save everyone.
Get away!
But if you look closely, Peggy also starts running toward it at the same time. Steve just happened to get there first. This proves that even before, Peggy is already worthy of becoming Captain Carter.
Captain Carter.
Did you know that in No Way Home, when the villains decide not to take the cure and attack Peter, there's a small Easter egg here with Electro. When Electro arrives at the Statue of Liberty to stop Peter from bringing them back to their own universes, Lightning briefly forms a star-shaped pattern on his face, referencing his classic mask from the comics. They probably chose not to use the goofy costume in full, because instead of making the audience afraid of the villain, it would have just made them laugh.
When Peter was vlogging inside Tony Stark's car, there's actually a small detail here that many people miss. When Happy suddenly pressed the brake and blasted his horn because they almost hit something, Tony gets mad.
Come on!
But what's amazing is if you look at Peter, long before Happy even pressed the brake, his spidey sense had already noticed that they were about to hit something.
Everyone was impressed.
Come on!
Did you know that when the Avengers all tried to lift Mjolnir, everyone failed to lift it? And when it's Hawkeye's turn, he said that he'd seen it before.
You knew I've seen this before, right?
He said that because back in Thor 1, when Thor himself failed to lift the hammer, Hawkeye was there watching from above. So he really did have experience on watching people fail to lift it. Did you know that when Hawkeye was mind-controlled by Loki in the first Avengers, he used a pew-pew machine instead of a bow? But what's amazing is, if you look closely, even then he was still holding and using it with the same form and technique as if it were his bow. Did you know why Ned could use the sling ring so easily to open a portal in No Way Home?
See Peter!
Even though Doctor Strange, the one destined to be the best of Sorcerer Supremes,
Strange is meant to be the best of us.
struggled at first? This is because Doctor Strange, being a man of science, had a hard time believing in magic and only succeeded after nearly freezing like a popsicle.
Oh no, it's really good. It's just, I've seen it before in gift shops.
Ned, on the other hand, grew up believing in it. He even mentioned his Lola told him magic ran in their family.
How did you know you were made up of magic? Because my Nana says that we have it in our family, and sometimes I get these tinglings in my hands.
You should talk to your physician.
That's why it came so naturally to him.
Did you know how strong Spider-Man's web? We know that it really is strong since it was able to stop a speeding train. But Marvel even added small details to show how strong it is. For example, when Peter is fighting Green Goblin in the final battle, he created a wall made out of web that Goblin destroyed. But if you listen carefully, when Goblin destroys it, it creates this metal sound. That means Spider-Man's web is comparable, or even stronger than steel.
When Tony Stark fought the giant angry Yoda in Age of Ultron, he was actually able to fight with him equally, using only his buffed-up red tuna can. Well, Tony's Hulkbuster was actually really strong, not just because it's bigger, but because the power output of this baby dwarfs his other inventions. If you look at the back of this bad boy, you will see these weird circles. These are actually arc reactors, the same source that powers up his suit. But instead of just one, he put 11 of these in a single giant suit. That's why the Hulkbuster was able to put this giant green baby to sleep. Did you know that Iron Man's iconic palm repulsors were actually discovered accidentally?
Get over here!
When Tony was creating his Mark II after escaping the cave, Pepper actually saw him making the arm of his suit, and Tony explained that he was creating flight stabilizers so he could fly more easily.
This is a flight stabilizer. It's completely harmless.
But when he tried powering it up, it created these giant shock waves that destroyed most of his equipment. This made Tony realize he could use it as a built-in weapon, instead of mounting his suit with a lot of pew-pew machine American style.
After Thanos wiped out half of the people in the life server, Tony was left stranded in space with no food and water. Fortunately, Captain Budget Superman managed to save him and bring him back to Earth. We were never told how he actually survived the 22 days in space. Without food? Sure, since humans can survive weeks without food. But without water, it only takes a few days. Well, we were actually given an answer to this back in Iron Man 2. When Pepper was mad at Tony for throwing a banger of a party, she said that Tony had already done #1 in his suit. But Tony revealed that his suit can filter water and make it safe to drink.
I know it has a filtration system. You could drink that water.
So that's actually how he survived in space, by drinking his own iron lemonade.
So good and tasty?
After Tony single-handedly hard-carried the Avengers against the Chitauri army, he almost got sent back to the lobby after destroying their mothership, and his useless teammates almost closed the portal without him. Like, the army was already defeated. Why rush to close the portal?
You are made of stupid.
But fortunately, Tony managed to cross it before it closed. What's amazing is that the only reason he managed to get out is because Jarvis removed his shoulder pads, which gave him enough momentum to escape the portal. If you don't believe it, there's actually an episode of What If where Tony didn't manage to escape.
But in this universe, Tony never made it home.
And if you look closely, this is because his shoulder pads didn't come off.
Did you know that when Thor arrived on Sakaar, he was shocked to see Loki casually blending in with everyone, while Thor was caught and tied up after getting electrocuted? But if you listen to what Loki is saying in that scene, it's not just a random story.
At that moment, I let go.
He's actually describing what happened at the end of Thor 1, when he dangled from the Bifrost and let go after Odin refused to side with him. In the background, you can even see the black hole he fell into, which explains how he survived.
Did you know this detail about Loki's power? When he tried to trick Thanos by getting close enough to poke him with a dagger, Thanos saw right through it. But how? If you look closely, Loki didn't magically summon the dagger. He just hit it with an illusion. If you watch his hand during the previous scene, his fingers are already curled as if holding something.
You might want a guide.
That's because the dagger was already there. It's just invisible. Thanos noticed this small detail and realized what Loki was planning. That's why he was able to react to Loki's attack.
Did you know that when Spider-Man managed to cure Norman Osborn in their final battle, the writers actually put details to connect it to the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man? When they're in Sanctum Sanctorum, we learned that he was transferred here when he was fighting Spider-Man. Then after he was cured, he was sent back again. So if we go back to Spider-Man 1 when he fights Spider-Man, and he accidentally hit himself with his glider, there's a moment where he said this.
Don't tell Harry.
This is actually the moment the No Way Home Goblin returned back. That's why he asked Peter to not tell Harry, since he don't want him to feel bad.
Did you know that the cures Peter made in No Way Home actually carry deeper meaning behind them, and not just some random shapes Peter pull out of his behind? For example, the cure for Sandman looks like just a random device. But if you slow it down, you'll notice it's actually a miniature version of the massive machine from Spider-Man 3 that turned Flint Marko into Sandman in the first place. Essentially, Peter built a smaller version that reversed the process of the sandification that created Sandman.
Did you know there's a small mistake in Avengers Endgame? During the final battle, Scott goes into the van to fix the quantum tunnel.
I have to hotwire it.
But just a second later, you can clearly see a giant Ant-Man fighting the Chitauri army in the back. Some fans tried to explain it as Hank Pym, but really it was just an animation oversight.